thanks everyone for coming. Really good to be at whatever this is. I guess a kind of like digital fans forum type thing. Thanks for Hayden and the players who are with us, and thanks for Mark Anderson for joining us from the board as well. I haven't really prepared any questions for tonight. You'll all be delighted to know. But what we have got instead is we want to hear as many questions from you as possible, and we want you to be answering the questions and to give you space as well to answer back the answers you've had as well. We're not going to unmute you all at once because that'll be carnage. But instead, if you've got a question, you'll see in Zoom that there's a chat function. If you can post a message in there, but rather than sending it to everyone, you can send it so it just goes to me. There's a chat and it'll send to everyone. But if you just select send to Jamie Cutteridge, I'll see them. And then as they come in, we can then hand over to you to ask a question. We'll keep you unmuted during the answer. And then if there's a bit of back and forth because you disagree about Hayden's refusal to play long ball when the game desperately needs it, then you'll have the opportunity to quiz him on that. And he obviously won't change his mind because he's the most stubborn footballing man in the world.
True.
So yeah, that's how this evening's going to work. So yeah, chat, send me the questions, and then we'll hand over to you to ask them. So start sending them in now, and then we'll start going through them. While the questions are coming in, I'll kick off just by asking Mark Anderson something, actually. Mark, thanks for being here. We know you went on Tamer's podcast and talked a lot about the ground situation, which was really helpful. I'm sure we'll get into that more over the course of the evening. But as the kind of representing the board for tonight, how do you and the board reflect on the season just gone?
I would easily say it's replaced my belief in both the Kingstonian project and non-league football in general. I think after a number of years of just trying to combination of make ends meet, and then the dreadful season we had the last season, then to go through this season the way, not only being successful, but the way we played as well has, I think, and I can speak for all the board because we've discussed it enough times, it's absolutely replenished our beliefs and our enthusiasm and everything else about Kingstonian Football Club. It's been a breath of fresh air, and let me be clear, we've tasted that, and we like it, and we want more of it.
Has it in many ways kind of changed what your expectations for Kingstonian should be then? Has it made Hayden's job harder in that sense?
No, it hasn't made the job harder. It's made the job easier, actually. Just to be, I had certain preconceived ideas about what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. And the last year or two, the revolving door of players over that period really started to sort of get to us all, I think, and a few off-field issues as well were starting to upset us, I think, would be the fairest thing to say. I was questioning myself, am I getting stale after 14 years doing this? I'm not enjoying it. What's happening? And then Hayden came along, and the lads came along with Hayden, and it has been just a revelation this last year. It's everything that I think Kingstonian should be, not just in terms of some success, but also in the manner of play. We pass it, and we pass it again, and I just think it's at this level of football, it's unusual, and it's an absolute joy to watch. And we're going to away matches now with expectation. We're going there expecting and not just hopeful, and it's been a real joy to be around it, I have to say.
You mentioned away matches. I still think Rob Waldridge hasn't seen us win away in the league since about 2012, but I think that's more his bad luck rather than anything else.
He went to Brightlingsea. He was at Brightlingsea.
Okay, yeah. That's true. As much as anyone could see anything at Brightlingsea in that rain. Mark, I want to pick up on something you said there and just throw it over to the players, actually. In particular, Shaun and Aaron. You two guys are the two who have played for K's before Hayden, in the recent past anyway. Shaun, Aaron, how would you reflect on this season's Kingstonian compared to the Kingstonian you've been part of in the past?
Go on, Aaron, you can start. You've been here longer.
Yeah, for me, it's a complete difference. Nothing's the same. The whole atmosphere around the ground, within the fans, within the changing room, at training, it's just completely different. And it's just different styles of management, different types of players. Like Mark said earlier, I think the key to success at this level is having a balanced changing room and a team that want to play with each other, play for each other, play for the manager. And I think particularly the last time I was at the club, we didn't have that in a group. So I think for me, that's been the biggest difference is probably the changing room. And of course, the style of play is completely different.
Shaun?
Yeah, obviously I joined, December last year. So coming into the change room, I think there was a lot of different voices and a lot of different personalities that are maybe a bit too strong, and the dressing room wasn't nowhere near as strong as it is now. Obviously playing against Mersham the last couple of years and knowing people like Reece and Benno and people like that, you know the sort of style of football that they always played. They're always difficult to play against. And I think last year, I even said this to Hayden in the summer, that I come away from that game against Mersham saying that they were the best team we played throughout, like in terms of pressing and the way they played. And I think, as you said, like in the warm up to this about Hayden saying about playing long ball, to some people that might sound crazy, but to us as a team, we know if it comes to the 85th minute, we know exactly what we're doing. We're not just hurtling balls in the box. There's a philosophy and there's a pattern that everybody knows. And whether it be the first minute of a game or the 85th minute of a game, we know that we could score or create chances. So there's definitely a DNA that we've created through Hayden and obviously the boys that have come with him, that have played with him for ages. And it's been a whole different atmosphere at the club, complete different atmosphere. I think the board have been brilliant the whole time I've been there, but I think they've obviously enjoyed it a lot more with the style of playing, obviously the success that we're having. And I think they see the group of boys that have come in that want to work for the team and not just come in and just take money. They want to work and be happy, and everybody's close.
Right. We've talked a bit about the season just gone. I'm sure we'll reflect on that a bit more. But if we can hand over to Peter for the first question, John, if you can unmute and spotlight him, who's got a question for Mark, and I think Hayden will want to chip in on this as well.
Peter hasn't got a video showing. Sorry, Jamie.
Okay. Can we unmute him and Peter can ask a question anyway? Or if not, I can ask a question for him.
He is unmuted.
Great.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Hello, Peter.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah, Peter West this end. I was just going to ask whether, Mark, whether you've heard anything from the Isthmian League officials as to how next season might look. The Premier League seems as though it's going to be played under closed doors facilities. I can't honestly see that Isthmian League football can go ahead behind closed doors, both for financial reasons and practical reasons. Have you heard anything from the league as to any ideas as to how they think next season might operate?
The straightforward answer to that is we've heard nothing at the moment. They're taking they're waiting for direction from the FA. There was a bit of a, as you know, as society closed down, different leagues did it in different ways. The Southern League did it in a different way to the Isthmian League, and that created both confusion and uncertainty. I think that the league, that they've realised the error of their ways, and they're all waiting to come back with a consistent message for what the future is. So we haven't heard anything at the moment. We're waiting to see. I think as we go through, as we approach the summer and we go into the summer, we'll have more of an idea of what they're thinking in terms of when football can open up again at our level.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.
Hayden,
I think Mark has described it perfectly. Speaking to the guys that are friends of mine that are working on it, that they want to get the football back at this level as quickly as possible. But I don't think anybody's going to put a definite date on it at this stage. I think there's a process that we will see go through both within society and within sport, football in particular. So the Bundesliga will restart. If that goes without incident, then you'll see the Premier League finish. I think once the Premier League is up and running, then you'll see hopefully things in society settle down. Then there'll be discussions of exactly when to restart the campaign. All that I can say is without naming names, because that wouldn't be fair, I know that there is a common denominator that people want our leagues to start as quickly as possible.
Hayden, in terms of that though, have you got kind of like a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C in terms of when the season might start, what that might look like for how you're going to prepare for the season?
I'm preparing for the season as though the season starts as normal, as though the season starts on the scheduled date of the 8th of August. I don't think it will start that early, but I know there's definitely a feeling that it could start in September. But like I say, no one's going to put their name to that at the moment. My job is to try to be one step ahead. And so currently in preparations, albeit it's difficult to prepare at the moment because of the lockdown, the team have already started preparing for next season. The team are meeting once a week on Zoom. So we're all together. There was training sessions this morning at 10:30. There was a training session this evening at 6 o'clock because the group wants to be united because we finished early. And obviously I'm in the process of seeing how we can improve as well during this period.
I'm interested in hearing from players on this actually, like for any of you guys that would want to kind of share, what would you guys need to see to be happy to start playing football in those environments again?
I'll talk. I've got family. To be fair, it's everybody's got different situations. Obviously, I've got 2 young kids. I have a wife. So if there's still risk attached to it, it's a bit tough because obviously with the Premier League they're getting tested 24/7, whereas at this level there isn't going to be tests available. So it is a tough one. But as long as you're kind of given the guarantees and the league are saying it's safe, then I don't think you kind of just look at it and mostly go along with their advice until you see otherwise.
Mm. Anyone else from the squad would want to add to that, or is that the general feeling?
Yeah, no. For me, the same as Shaun, really, because I've got young kids at home. As long as we get the go-ahead from the government, really, that is safe, then yeah, more than happy to get going with it all.
Great. We'll move on to something a little bit different now. A question from Alex Beard. We can unmute Alex. Just to say while that's happening, for anyone who's just joined, if you've got questions that you want asking, put them in the chat privately to me, and then we'll hand over to you. But Alex.
Hi, everyone. This is a question for Mark. I wonder if you could please tell us as much as you can about the different options for grounds that you mentioned in Taymor's podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, we were, as you know, we have a ground share agreement with Corinthian Casuals for the ongoing for this next season at least. and we have been talking to 2 different options in terms of a permanent home. One of them looks very favourable indeed, but of course, as a result of lockdown, we were due to have a meeting with these people, but it's been called off temporarily until some sort of normality comes back. That's about as far as I can go with it. I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic, but at the moment we're in a tenancy agreement with our friends at Corinthian Casuals, and we have we've gone beyond the first steps at looking at an alternative. We understand that we need our own ground. That will be the making of this club once we get our own facility. It's as simple as that. Simple as that.
Alex, is there anything you'd like to come back to Mark on that?
No, yeah, that's great. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I guess your hands are tied as much as you can tell us for various reasons.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Mark, the question that I'd ask is, you talked a bit on the podcast with Tamor and hinted at various statements that the kind of the long-term agreement with Casuals wasn't sustainable. Does that mean there is like a finite amount of time that we could like keep going with the current like rental and ground share agreement? Do you see a bit of a?
There's no fine. It's infinite. The time that they're happy to continue to lease us the ground, and we have a rolling agreement. We're very happy with that. It's to everyone's benefit, really. It gives us a place to play. It gives them some additional revenue. So there are no time limits set on it. Obviously, every week of lockdown, delays are processed with the other people we're speaking to quite, significantly. Unfortunately, that's just the way life is. But we're very, very hopeful that as soon as measures relax, then we'll be able to pick up negotiations very quickly.
If the season was expunged and never happened, does that mean we didn't have to pay the Casuals rent?
We've already paid it. I don't think there's much getting it back to you.
Slightly different question now from Sam for some of the first team staff. We can unmute Sam.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're all well. This is a question mainly to the players. Light-hearted. If you could be stranded on a desert island with one person, anybody, living or dead, who would it be?
Can I just ask
you? Unlucky to be stranded in an island with a dead person, I've got to say.
If you can just announce your name before you speak, then I'll be able to find you and spotlight you on the video.
Hello, I'm Sam Ambrose.
Yeah, I'll have a go. Ollie Cook will have a go.
Thanks, Ollie.
You want to be on an island with Leanne, presumably.
Is that Coops' missus?
That only makes sense if you listen to the Weaving in That podcast. So that's an advert for you, Tamor. Sorry, Ollie, off you go.
No, I'll probably go. I fancy Ricky Gervais for a desert island, to be fair. I keep you laughing all the way through it. Not that there's a lot else to do, other than build a little hut and do a bit of fishing, I suppose. So yeah, I'll go with Ricky Gervais. I like his sense of humour. He'd have a beer with me as well, I reckon.
Let's hear from a player we haven't heard from yet. Reece, Harry, one of you want to jump in?
I'll go. I'd have to take my son with me. No good reason, but just me and my son. We'll get through it.
Nice. Harry?
Can you hear me? I'm unmuted.
No, we can hear you, Harry.
We can hear you.
I said I'd have to take my son with me. We'll get through it. Me and my son will get through it.
Nice. Sorry, that was my mistake.
Me and my son.
Do you have to say that, H? Or?
Say it again, H.
Mrs. is listening.
Yeah,
Me and my son.
I'll probably have to take Bear Grylls with me.
That's the most sensible answer. That's a good one.
Our answer, there's only one answer. If you're married, you've got to say your wife, otherwise you're in trouble. So yeah, I'm taking my wife. Done.
I would take Mark Anderson because he runs a travel company. He can get us off the island quickly.
To be honest, Hayden, I'm just surprised you didn't say you were going to take some Chelsea player from the 90s, so it's nice for a bit of variety.
Or the 60s.
I would have taken Kerry Dixon, but I think he would just be so pissed I wouldn't get any sense out of him.
Excellent. Okay, another question. Rex, let's hear from you. All the way from Wales. Or not from Wales. You've got a background in London.
Yeah, I'm speaking to you from my Westminster office.
It's like you're doing Eurovision results.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can remember what my question was now. Oh, yeah, I can. All right.
Simon Le Bon haircut, Rex.
Thank you, mate. Grey isn't the colour I like. Hayden, if the league announced that the season was restarting and you didn't feel it was safe for the players or yourself or the fans, what would you do?
Yeah, that's a very difficult one to answer. But I certainly, you always have to put the players' safety first, without a shadow of a doubt. Myself and the football club have a duty of care to the players, and like I would always would in any circumstances, I would always back my lads, look after them primarily, and put the players' safety first.
I get a follow-up question, Westminster. Because
Sorry, Rex, what was that?
I just wondered if I get a follow-up question. I think there's huge pressure from the public, from the media, from the sponsors and the backers, and especially at the top level of the game. There's enormous pressure to get football underway again. And it worries me that we're going to start seeing the lockdown lifted before it's safe to do so. And that could apply to football just as much as it could apply to absolutely anything else in life.
I understand exactly what you're saying, Rex. I think there's a fine line to be struck here without sounding like Boris Johnson. You've got to try to ease the lockdown safely. You've got to try and ease the lockdown to allow the economy to recover, but at the same time, making sure people are safe. In answer to your question, I think that, and please feel free to ask the lads, if I was to ask them if they wanted to play Saturday, I think a lot of them would be like desperate to go and kick a ball. Everybody wants to play. Everybody's missing playing football, playing for Kingstonian. But of course, everybody has to come back safely. Hopefully we can in the not too distant future.
Thank you. I guess it's not the same question really to Mark Anderson, who, you know, like you, very much has a position of responsibility within the club, and very much like you is going to come under pressure from the league, whether Mark Anderson thinks it's safe or not.
If we felt it was unsafe and the advice from Hayden representing the players was that they didn't want to play, then we wouldn't play. It's as simple as that, really. It's I understand the context of the question is quite interesting because we've seen a very slapdash and sort of erratic response from government to this crisis, and I'd have thought there would have been some sort of joined up thinking in terms of the relaxation of the lockdown. But you are correct in asserting that there is a desire to push through some sort of good news, and I accept that. But we also have a league and a board of directors on the league that would have an input into all of this. But ultimately, it is up to the players and through the manager as to if we consider it to be safe or not. We are not going to risk people's safety and health as to play a game of football. It's really clear.
I'm probably in a somewhat luckier situation than you guys in England, in that at least I have a government I can trust.
I think we'll probably try and leave that one there, Rex.
But thank you for my time. Appreciate it. Nice to see you all.
Thanks for the question, Rex.
Hayden, it'll be nice to see you take a safety first approach next season then for a change.
We always do. It's always safe when you've got possession of the ball.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do now. I'm aware that we did some end of season videos, and we heard from all the players who are here tonight, apart from Reece Hall. So Reece, I'm trying to remember what the questions we asked on those videos were, but Reece, it'd be really great to hear from you, from your top, maybe your favourite games from last season, your favourite goal. I imagine it'd be one of yours because yours got mentioned a few times. And then the question we asked everyone else was their favourite miss, and they just talked about Fabio at Bognor. So you might want to talk about someone different. But Reece, how do you reflect on last season?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to all the fans, the board, and the management staff. I actually didn't get to do a video because I was ill at the time. I was ill for about 2.5 weeks. So I didn't get to do a video. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you to all you guys in here and the rest of the fans and directors. I'd say my 3 standout games were Western Supermare away. I think it was just one of those. So we had a replay, and I think it was just like one of those typical Tuesday nights where it was just a long journey and everyone was at work in the morning, and to go there and the conditions and the fans were there and helped us through it. I think it was really rewarding when that game finished. I think that was definitely one of my top 3. I would say the Woking game at home, for obvious reasons. I mean, they were like 4th in the National League at the time. And I think that we just totally dominated them, outplayed them on a big occasion. And the pitch that day, I remember it rained really heavy and the pitch was in a bad state. And I think before that game, I don't think none of us could picture the game going that well. But I still we managed to play them off the park on that. And then I would have to say Macclesfield, just because of the occasion. I think the game itself wasn't a rewarding game for us in terms of like they put out their kids and stuff, so it was kind of like a bit easy for us. But for the club and then like going up there the night before and the whole occasion, I think we'd definitely have to put that up there as well. Goal of the season, I'm not going to nominate myself. I'm going to say Callum Davis overhead kick was top drawer, to be fair. Miss of the season, I wasn't at the Bognor game, so I'm not going to chuck Fabio under the bus, but I do believe Fabio had a few more that we could chuck in there. I'd say, yeah, he definitely had a few. I can remember the first game of the season, he had one where he volleyed it over, and he had a few more. So one of Fabio's, we'll pick one of Fabio's.
What was your worst miss of the season, Reece?
My worst miss?
Yeah.
Oh, Bishop Stortford. Bishop Stortford away. I think I had a chance early in the second half to extend our lead to 2 goals. I just put it wide of the post. But yeah, that was my miss of the season.
I don't remember that. You probably get away with that more because it was a game that we won, whereas all the Fabio misses you're talking about were in games that we didn't win.
Yeah, probably. And it probably helped that I scored that game as well. And we won, yeah.
Yeah, it was Shaun who scored a great goal that day as well.
Yeah,
Shaun, have you ever scored a goal that good?
That's his first goal ever, isn't it?
Come on, Shaun, talk us through that goal.
No, he's muted.
He's
It's
muted.
on YouTube. It's on Sky Sports and that, so check it out.
All right, a question from Ian Gray next.
Hi guys. Hi guys.
Hi Ian.
Hi from sunny Brighton. I my question really was going to be around: is there a 25 to 30 goal centre forward around like Louis? But I guess the more important follow-up part is someone that's going to buy into our project. So I'll say no more than that because I don't want to go down the Louis to Romford road. But someone who's going to genuinely buy into our project.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Eddie Desagne took over the reins from Louis halfway through the season. It's never an easy task. Let's not forget, in defending Eddie, Louis had 6 weeks of work in pre-season to work with us. He probably didn't really understand it to the degree we wanted for another month or 5 weeks, and then obviously he did very well and scored 18 goals. Eddie, the way that we play is a very good fit. If you speak to the likes of Reece, to Harry, to Cookie, they'll tell you that all of my teams have normally had a centre forward of that ilk, whether that's been Walter Figueroa, whether that's been Charlie Penny, whether that's been Richard Jolly. They've always had a centre forward like that. We do need to bring another centre forward into the football club, not to necessarily replace Eddie, but we do need another centre forward in the building. And I think in football, Ian, there's opinion and there's fact. And the fact is, categorically, that I think that we are a very good team. I think that technically, organisationally, I think that we're the best team in the league. I honestly do. But you can't say you're the best team in the league if you're not winning the league. The reason that we wasn't higher is obviously the games in hand and the pressures that the cup competitions put on the squad. But critically, we drew 14 games. If you win even this season, 7 of those 14 games, you comfortably be in the top 3, I suspect. But we need the goals from predominantly a number 9, but not only from a number 9, to turn the draws into 3 points. That's been a lot of the work that I've been doing since the season finished. It's not the only area we need to improve. We need to improve in all areas. You improve in football in different ways. You improve in football with work. You improve in football with accelerating the work by bringing the right personnel into the football club. And at the moment, I have a number of players that I'm talking to come to Kingstonian. Not that we need many, only 2 or 3, but it's important that we bring the right 2 or 3 in. And I think that will really help us accelerate and fulfil our ambitions next year.
Lovely. Appreciate the answer.
Thank you, Ian.
Just thinking a bit more about kind of attacking play. I'm interested in hearing a bit more from Reece and Aaron about that. About as the 2 more forward players that we've got here tonight. What kind of strikers do they enjoy playing with, especially the kind of way the team is playing? What are they looking for in a striker, Reece or Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, players of Eddie's kind of build that Hayden mentioned, Charlie Penny and stuff. I always enjoy playing with them. I feel like they always look to run in behind and they can stretch defenders back, which gives me more space in like the hole behind them. So I do enjoy playing with players that look to run in behind. But yeah, players like Louis, I mean, it's like he does what it says on the tin. He gets you 20 goals a season, every season, no matter how they come. So I think it's always good to just have someone like that in the building. But yeah, as Hayden said, I mean, Eddie with a bit more work and understanding like the team a bit more, I think it just comes with time. After a while, everyone understands how we play and they just adapt to it.
Aaron, what about you? You've probably played with about 15 different strikers at Cade.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I think previously to working with Hayden, I would have said somebody who runs the channels for me to spin it in behind. But I think definitely now somebody who you can link play with, not afraid to come and get on the ball. If we can't stretch the play, then happy to drop in, get into pockets. So then I might be able to exploit higher up. But just somebody who's not shy of the ball really and wants to get on the end of it, stays between the 6-yard box and gets the team as many goals as possible.
I won't bother asking any of the defenders that question because they're not allowed to kick it that far. Or Hayden will kick them out of the squad. So there's no point asking what they want in a striker. Another question now from Chrissy, who's asked a couple. So Chrissy, I'll let you choose which of your questions you want to ask now. And a reminder for anyone else who's got questions, send them in on the chat.
Well, I asked a silly question, so I'm going to let Hamish ask his sensible question.
I don't know. That's maybe not a good idea. But what's the current squad size, Hayden? We've had to let people go, because obviously are you still paying wages, etc. How's it looking?
Those decisions, Hamish, are fluid. Those decisions are ongoing at the moment. I think, from my perspective, and from a club perspective, in the really positive talks I've had with the football club, we all agree that 12 months ago there was a big job to do here, and I think we ticked the boxes in the 12 months. And I said from day one that year one was about year two. And I have, and the team has, and the club has big ambitions for year two. Now, in fulfilling those ambitions, there will be casualties. There's no doubt about that. It's football. People that have been really good for the team may have run their race. We have to look to improve. And in looking to improve, there's budgets to consider, there's budgets to respect. And consequently, you might have a situation where 4 people, 3 or 4 people move on for 2 or 3 people to come in. But the biggest reason why the people will move on is that I'll have honest discussions with all of the players. And if I don't feel as though I can offer the players the amount of football that they deserve to play, then I think it's only right that we allow them to pursue other possibilities. So we had last season people like Callum and people like Dan Thompson. And if you speak to anybody in the squad, they'll all speak really highly of Callum. They'll all speak really highly of Dan Thompson. But the conversations with these players will be, if I can't guarantee them a certain amount of games next season, it's only fair to those players to give them the opportunity to look at different options. So there's all sorts of things to consider. But in terms of the dynamic of the squad, my ambition is very clear. My ambition is to ensure that we retain 85 to 90% of the playing squad, and we simply improve it in 2 or 3 areas. And I think that gives us the cohesion, the continuity, and the fluidity to continue to improve.
Thank you. No, that's great. Obviously, I was thinking that because of the current financial situation, I know that the club are, with Mark and other directors, we're having to let people go. But, the money comes from the directors. I know that. That's great. Thanks, Hayden.
I think what I would say to that, obviously the contributions that the directors make are significant, albeit I don't have any involvement in that. But I think what's really important for Kingstonian is Kingstonian becomes self-sufficient. I've seen football clubs that solely rely on directors and they never achieve what they want to achieve. It's always short-term success there. In order for us to have longevity in our success and build the club that we all want to, the club has to become self-sufficient. And all that I can say, and I'll leave it up to Mark if he wants to elaborate on the point, is that there's quite lengthy discussions with the football club at the moment of exactly how to achieve that. And in doing that, I think everybody has to play their part. Even if you look at the the Booster Budget Fund, which people really kindly, generously contribute to, I think that's going to be more important than ever next season in helping us all achieve our objectives.
Yeah, Mark, I wondered if you wanted to say anything about that, and particularly whether there's anything, whether what's currently going on in the world is likely to have an impact on the kind of budget for next season.
It will have an impact at Kingstonian, undoubtedly. We've managed to, for the last 15 years, get by. The issue has always been that there's always been a shortfall. Again, when you only have gate money, a bit of advertising, program sales, and nothing in terms of a bar or a function suite, it's very, very difficult. It's impossible to break to even break even. The reality is that, in my case, there's always been a shortfall, and it was Malcolm Winwright, Mark Anderson that made up the shortfall. Then it was Mark Anderson, John Fennick, and Malcolm Winwright that made up the shortfall, and others that have been in and out of the board. And then Paul Hayward came along, and George came along. So we had George, Paul, and John, and me being Ringo, making up the shortfall. So, that's where we were. The reality is now that my business has taken a significant hit. This should be our busiest month of the year, and we have no bookings at all. That's just the way life is. And there are going to be pressures, but there'll be pressures on every club going into next season, whenever that should be. I think Hayden's point regarding financial sustainability is absolutely spot on. For this club to be successful, it has to play at the highest level it can while remaining sustainable. It's unfortunate, but we have been paying for the sins of the past from 2001, 2002 for about 12, 15 years now. 18 years we've been paying for that. And it's a long, long road that is taken to get back to where we are now. But, we are incredibly optimistic. We had a meeting yesterday with Hayden, and we've got a package of sponsorship offers and other things that we really think will be excellent. And it's absolutely vital. And I think we're a united club now. We are very together, all of us, fans, supporters, volunteers, players, management, everyone moving in the right direction. And but we need some help. We need some help from all of you during the next year, to say, in my estimation. But we're optimistic. We feel we have absolutely the right team, the right management team, and we're optimistic about the future in terms of finding a ground. So I believe the cup is half full and not half empty.
Mark, do you think there'll be clubs at our level, above our level, that go to the wall because of what's going on at the moment?
Do you know what? I honestly don't know. A lot of people said they would, but we've managed to furlough players, and I would imagine most of the Div 1, Div 2 and conference teams have managed to furlough players. I think where the pressure actually comes, and it goes up as far as the Championship, the Old Money Division 2, I think it is the appetite of what the directors, who always in these football clubs, always are there to take some of the strain in terms of loans and stuff like that. It's what appetite or what ability they will have to do that during the course of the next year or two. I think if the option is you're actually looking after your family and looking after your business, or you're looking after your football club, then your family comes first, your business second, and your football club third. That is, I'm afraid, how it works. But we've always at Kingstonian we've always cut our cloth accordingly, and I'm optimistic about our future. But again, I emphasise we need everyone, every bit of help we can get. We need now. But you know, we are in a very, very good position at this time.
What are the implications of putting players on furlough in terms of, I mean, they're allowed to train? Like, are they allowed to, what does that mean for players to go on furlough?
It means that they can't work for us while they're on furlough. So I think in terms of their own personal health, that's why, I mean, the season's over now, so it's done and dusted. But while you're on furlough, you can't work for that employer. Ironically, you can work for another employer, which seems to make no sense at all. So I could have had a situation whereby I couldn't bring my coach drivers back, but I could borrow the coach operator down the road's drivers and use them, and he could use my drivers, and we wouldn't have broken the furlough regulations such as they were. And you know, Rex's point earlier was quite profound. If you know, that's part of what we're going through at the moment.
I want to go back to the players and a bit about what Hayden was talking about a few minutes ago in terms of assembling the squad for next season, in terms of having those conversations with the players and players coming, players going. I'm interested to hear from any of them, really. Maybe start with Harry, as we haven't heard from him in a while. Players, how do you approach like a season where you're having like the off season where you're having these conversations? What do you want to hear from the manager? What are you going into those conversations wanting to say?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around Hayden for a couple of years now. I think the conversation is pretty easy. I mean, as a group of players, we're all settled. We all enjoy the style of football. I feel like as a group this season, I mean, majority of us stayed from Mersham. So I feel like we're a tight group. Everyone's pretty settled. With the bond's only getting stronger. And I feel like if you ask most of the players, I mean, me personally, I haven't enjoyed football this much, I say, in a couple of years. I mean, I'll even go to as far, I don't think even Hayden knows this. Before I joined Mersham, I was actually close to calling it quits. I had such a bad experience with non-league football. Just the whole style of it, just long ball, just getting elbowed every week, just wasn't for me. So yeah, I feel like as a group of players, we all enjoy it, and I think the conversation is pretty straightforward. I feel like we're all pretty relaxed about it.
Ollie, how does it feel that you're wanting to play long ball is making people like Harry want to retire from the game? No, but Ollie, obviously you've played at a different level to a lot of these guys at Fulham and then Southampton. How does that impact your approach to the off season and these kind of conversations?
Obviously, the off season is a bit longer in non-league than it was playing at Southampton. That was about 6 weeks. But in terms of the original question, what you want to hear in the off season when you meet managers and talk with other players is, you know, I'm under contract for next season. Obviously, signed that back at Christmas, so I actually bought into it before we played Fylde, I believe. Bought into where this club was going, bought into what Hayden wants to do. Obviously, thought the squad was good enough to take us places, maybe with a couple of additions to really kick on and win the league, or at least challenge next season, which was, you know, explained that year one was the building year, and I think we surpassed all expectations of laying down building blocks in the season just gone. So it's really a no-brainer for me to see the foundations, to know kind of where the club wants to go and believes it should be. So for me, it was really easy to say, yeah, you know, I'll do the rest of this season and I'll do next season as well, because I firmly believe that this club is kind of below where it should be, and it would be a privilege to get it back to where it believes it should be.
Right. I'm always a bit reluctant to say this, but I believe Tamor Lay has got a question.
I think that'll work. Hello, everyone. Nice to see so many faces. It's conceivable that the new season doesn't start, and that we have to wait until August 2021 non-league. If that were to happen, my question is, what are the prospects of a series of glamorous international friendlies in countries that are in a state of post-lockdown? So I'm thinking Germany, South Korea, or New Zealand. And my question to the players is, if you could go on a pre-season or post-season, I guess, tour to play teams of our level in equivalent countries, which countries would you want to visit?
I would have to say Germany. I went there on a pre-season tour previously, about 4 or 5 years ago, and the level of football was unbelievable. The efficiency of the team, so organised, so professional, and I think it really put me personally to the test. And I'd love to go back and see it all happening. And as a coach now, I'd love to go back and be able to watch a bit of it. I think they do things so differently to us that we could take a big leaf out of their book. So for me, yeah, it'd have to be Germany.
Any of the other players, where would you go?
I'll jump in. I'd probably go to Sweden. I played out in Sweden for a year. A lot of the lower league clubs in Sweden try to play football. Doesn't work all the time, but a lot of the lower league clubs out there do try and play football. There's no route one. It's all tactical based out there.
Shaun, what about you?
Listen, I think pre-season is one of them things that don't matter about the way other teams play in terms of if they pass it around or they go long. You want to just get game time. So you just want to go somewhere that's got good weather, good facilities, and the boys can get together and obviously get some sort of camaraderie going and obviously get their work going. So anywhere exotic, anywhere hot, little training camp in Dubai or that if Mark Hampson wants to.
It'll be a long coach to Dubai.
We'd have to leave now.
But yeah, anything like that. Obviously, I feel pre-season isn't really about the opposition you're playing. It's mainly about the work you're able to do on the training pitch and get the fitness levels and the sessions within you before you start the season.
Hayden, have you done that kind of thing before? Is that something that you'd want to go and do for a kind of overseas camp? Obviously, a few of us went to Gibraltar 2 years ago now.
I'd love to do it. I haven't done it before. You know, being the manager of Merstham, we could barely get to Croydon, I think, for a pre-season tour. So my suggestions that we should go to Hawaii were falling on deaf ears. I think it would be a great idea to get that team bonding, to really work hard, and providing it was used in the right way. The thought of working really hard with the players for 10 days, 2 weeks, somewhere hot, seems really good. The thought of trying to pull Reece, Hall, Dan Bennett and Ollie Cook out of a bar at 4 a.m. doesn't seem quite so appealing. I think I'd have to leave that to Jamie Street, even though I suspect that he would be himself a little bit like Paul Gascoigne in the dentist chair. So I don't think he'll be without his problems.
Great. Ollie Underwood has got a question. Brilliantly,
Hello.
Ollie. your message popped up. As I said, Ollie Underwood's got a question. It just came up saying Ollie Underwood boring on the chat screen.
That's describes me. My question is, what's the club's goals for next season, whenever it starts, be it September or January 2021, for goals for the next season and the season after, on and off the field, etc., etc. That makes sense. Yeah, goals on and off the field next season and onwards.
Mark, do you want to kick off with that one?
Yeah, sure. Goals off the field is the ground. Getting ourselves our own facility. On the field, I think the team's good enough, as Hayden said, with one or two tweaks if we can, to go to try and get ourselves promoted. I want it all, don't I? Really, I want an FA Cup run. I want an FA Trophy run. I want Dan Walker, my new chum, back down.
You want more Portaloos, is what you're saying, Mark?
I want to bring them Portaloos in. I want more Portaloos, and I want and I want to carry on enjoying it. And I think all of us want to carry on enjoying it. It's a pleasant experience now, and that hasn't often been the case in the last few years. But it's an absolute joy, and you can hear tonight just from the players what an outstanding bunch of individuals they are. A lot of footballers get a bit of a bad press now and again, on the back pages of the papers and whatnot. But let me tell you, it's been a joy to be around these guys. It really has, and it's testimony to them. I think they are excellent. So, yeah, that's what I'd like. And lots of goals, lots and lots of goals on the pitch, please.
Hayden, what about? Hayden, what about you? Is it promotion or bust?
I think
Bird out when we finish sixth.
I won't duck the question. I'll answer it honestly. I'll answer it pragmatically first, and then I'll answer it openly. Pragmatically, one thing that I learnt in football very early is success is progress. Success is improving. So the first job is to improve. The first job is to improve in all areas of the pitch to make sure that we win more games, we get more points, we score more goals, we concede less goals. So that if we are improving, we're successful. That's the pragmatic answer. The open answer is, whilst I'm not going to say we are going to do this, I very clearly had the mindset that Kingstonian next season, in keeping these players together and adding in key areas a maximum of 2-3 maximum, Kingstonian have to fight for the league title. We have to be promoted and fight for the league title. That's my honest view.
Any of the players have any of you guys got specific hopes or ambitions for next season?
Yeah, I think what Mark Hansen and the gaffer said, I think all the boys echo. I think speaking from the start of the season, even though the gaffer said that it wasn't about promotion this season, it was about progression and obviously promotion would have been key in that, but would have been an extra bonus. I think we all felt we had a good enough team, and we let ourselves down a little bit in certain games that we shouldn't have. And I think next season, there's no excuses. We've got some of the best players in the league. We play the best football in the league. So there's no excuses why we shouldn't be getting promoted.
Yeah, I agree with Shaun. Off the back of that, I'd say that in terms of the cup competitions, we did very, very well last season, and probably exceeded a lot of expectations in a lot of people's eyes. But in the league, I'd say we started too slowly, and then ultimately, not to make excuses, but the cup competitions may have hurt what we were trying to achieve in the league, because they were either distractions or just the sheer build-up of games affected people. But I'd say that in terms of next season, speaking to a lot of the players, we're not here to mess around. We're going to go for it next season in the cups and in the league, which probably at the end of the day is the most important aspect.
Okay. A question now from Ali Kazemi, which is obviously what we've all been waiting for. Have you been rotating your background all evening?
Well, it's based on a theme. Mark said, he misses his mate Dan Walker, so here we go. It's all about the Portalees. Where am I? I am somewhere there in that picture. Anyway, this is a great night, guys. I've got a question for the players. Over the years, we've heard a lot from players or from managers about the advent of the plastic pitches and how players struggle with them, like backs and knees and so on and so forth. Given the number of these plastic pitches we have now, how do the players find grass differences? Can you just tell us a bit about it?
I'd say, me personally, I'd love to play on a 4G. I think that they're getting better and better, and they really put out a realism of pretty much a grass pitch now. I've never had any problems in terms of injuries, in terms of knees or back pain throughout them. And I think that it does give teams a slight upper hand. With Hayden, he practices playing good football anyway. So playing away, I would say on a 4G pitch is pretty much like playing at home anyway. But I'd love to be able to have a season on it where it was week in, week out, with no interruptions to the way you want to play.
Yeah, I'd echo what Aaron said there. I think we train on it on a Thursday. I think the performances we've had on it the teams that have had 4G pitches, we've done very well. It suits the way we play in terms of keeping the ball on the floor and passing it around. Obviously, being the oldest player in the team, I've had 2 knee injuries. I've been training on it every Thursday, and it doesn't affect any of my knees or my ankles or anything. So I think the standard of them has improved, and that stigma attached to it doesn't really match up anymore.
Reece, what about you? Did you play on a plastic pitch at one point when you were at Dorking?
Yeah. I played on a 4G pitch at Dorking. I think that they're really good, to be honest. I think if you play on a 4G pitch at home and you kind of master the surface, and especially if you play the football the way we do, I think you win all your home games and you've just got to worry about going away and playing on a dodgy pitch, then it gives you a great chance to win the league. I think if you look around, the majority of the leagues, Conference and Isthmian and so on, I think people with 4G pitches always tend to be around the playoffs or in the playoffs or near the top of the league. I don't think that's by coincidence. I think that it actually gives you a bit of consistency on your surface. Going through our leagues, I mean, you can come across some horrible pitches. I think if you can kind of get a consistent, good surface in all your home games, then it really sets you up to win a league.
Hayden, when we spoke about some of your favourite grounds a couple of weeks ago, when you stopped talking about Chelsea for a minute, the two you mentioned at our level were Worthing and Carshalton that are both artificial pitches. Is that belying a preference that you've got there?
With regard to the 4G surfaces?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think first of all in football there's opinion and there's facts, and Reece is right. If you look at the teams that have done well in the league in recent seasons, it's no coincidence that they've had the 4G pitches. Worthing were top this year. Dorking Wanderers won the league last season. I think that, Reece mentioned earlier is a great example that it's an absolute credit to the players that we played some really tremendous football last season on, at times, not the best pitch. If you look at when we played at home to Woking, the pitch was pretty atrocious, to be honest. It certainly wasn't conducive to moving the ball quickly. But such is the belief in the footballing identity and the philosophies. I speak to the players all the time and say good players can play on any surface. Merely the fact that good players make good decisions. They did that day. All of that said, I look at the surfaces. I look at Hendon's plastic pitch. I think is not a good one. I'm not a fan of Whiteleaf's. I think Carshorten's is okay. I think Sutton, Bromley's, Margate's is very good. I think Dawkins is pretty good, could be better. But I think if you put this team on a 4G pitch, I think that you would see it move up another level again immediately. Immediately.
Great. We'll move on to another question now from Steve. If we can unmute and spotlight Steve.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Just wanted to ask how the players individually would rate themselves for the season, last season, out of 10. And what one aspect of their game do they need to improve?
I'll go. The boys are frozen on me. I'll go. You say over out of 10, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll go 7. 7. Yeah, I'll go 7. What was the other question, Steve?
What area of your game do you need to improve most?
Well, last season I played quite a lot at centre back because Ollie's got chocolate legs. So probably when I'm playing centre back, probably I think Hayden will probably say my aggression. I'm gonna say. Hayden, you agree?
Yeah. I think that Harry did a really good job last season. I think he really helped us. If you don't mind, I'd like to take the Fifth Amendment on this, because when we come to negotiating with these players in the summer, I'll be interested to hear their mark out of 10 and how they could improve. So I'm going to let you do the talking on this one, H.
What was the other question, Steve?
That was it, your area of improvement. So you were saying aggression, yeah?
Probably aggression. I'm probably a bit too nice for a defender.
Aye.
Well, let's work our way through the team then. So, Ollie, if you have a centre back, how would you answer those two questions?
I think my half of the season was quite good, personally. So I'd give it a kind of an 8.5.
That's why you got a new contract.
Yeah. No comment. But no, when I got injured, Harry played very, very well. He was a bit of a monster at the back at the time. But in terms of where I can improve, I think I can pop up with more goals, to be honest. Probably more aggression in that area of the pitch. I'm quite good at protecting my own goal, but keeping clean sheets for the other team isn't something I should be doing. So I'd go with popping up with more goals, being a bit more aggressive in their box at set pieces.
Cooper's set the standard, hasn't he?
17 goals in open play.
Apparently it was 14, really.
Long time ago, though.
Yeah.
Shaun, what about you?
I think I had obviously a solid season. I would say I'm the sort of player that's dealt my whole career on trying to just keep a standard of. I've always tried to be between a 7 and an 8, and that's the sort of standard you're never going to get a 10 out of 10 performance out of me, but hopefully you don't get too many 4 out of 10 performances from me either. So I kind of try and keep a standard between 7 and 8, and that's where I always trying to keep the standards at. My whole career, I've always been told the same thing. Maybe one-on-one defending has always been my weakness. I'm very much attacking, and I try and make up wingers run further back to the goal than they are closer to my goal. But if you're going to nail one weakness to me, my whole career has mostly been one-on-one defending.
Aaron?
Obviously, I was only back for a short period of time, but I'd probably give myself a 6. I think I've got a lot more to give, and I think that the biggest room for improvement for me would be my fitness. I've spent the last few years after leaving K's for Truro sitting in front of the back four, so I've probably got away with it a little bit more than I've probably needed to. And so for me, if I want to get up and down the pitch more, bring more to my game, then definitely my fitness.
Just touching on that quickly, like, you left K's as a winger and you came back as like a deep lying midfielder almost. Like, what was behind that change?
To be fair, I was never a winger. So obviously I signed for Hampton, which was kind of my first non-league club, and I think we played against K's in a cup, like a end of season type thing or pre-season. I can't remember what it was called. And Dow sent me to Tommy Williams, who just needed a forward player, I think. Dow's played me in the 10 against K's, and Tommy just stuck me on the wing for that game, I think. So yeah, I was never really a winger, but always been the central midfielder.
Okay. Reece, what about you? How would you grade last season, and where do you want to improve going forward?
Personally speaking, I think that I'll grade myself around a 7 or 8 on average. I feel like I did get to my 9s and 10s performances when I scored about 4 and 4, and I was on a good run, and then I got injured annoyingly, which kind of just set me back, and then the season finished on me. So yeah, that was pretty annoying. Where I want to improve next season is just score more goals, be more consistent in scoring goals more often. Yeah, that's about it.
Hayden, how would you grade yourself on last season, and what do you need to improve on?
10.
No, I said what you'd give yourself out of 10, not where we finished.
10. What was my biggest strength last season? My biggest strength was putting up with these toe rags. No, seriously, these guys made my job easy. If I give myself a good mark, it's because these guys made my job easy, as did everybody in Kingstonian. Everybody said this would be a difficult job. It wasn't a difficult job. It was easy. It was an easy job, and one I've really enjoyed. So listen, I'll let you guys judge the marking. Don't be too cruel. You put it on the chat. All I can say is that I've really enjoyed it, and we want to really move it on a level next season.
Mark, what would you give Hayden out of 10 for last season?
Well, I give Hayden out of 10 for last season. I'd give Hayden a 9.
Okay.
9, which is a place higher than we finished, isn't it?
Mark, thinking about managers, does the success that Hayden's brought in the last year make some of the appointments in the few years before that more frustrating? And what was the difference in this hire compared to previous ones?
I've said it before. I don't think there's been a single manager that we have that hasn't done their utmost to do a good job for the club. I really believe that. All of them have arrived with the right attitude and sometimes it goes for you, and sometimes it doesn't go for you. Sometimes they've been operating with a more restricted budget, and sometimes they've had a very good budget and managed to make it up. The reality is that Hayden comes with a template. This manager comes with a template of pattern of play. It's a template of who he considers to be a Hayden Bird player. So we're not going out and bringing in a number of different players. He actually waits and he looks for what he thinks will fit into the pattern. And it's been I keep saying it's been refreshing. It has been refreshing. There was a story yesterday that it's a silly little thing, but it means so much to me, and that is the fact that for the first time in my involvement in the club, 90% plus of the training kit, of the track suits, of the polo shirts have actually been returned. Normally, you never see them again, but it has all come back, and it's all come back in a decent condition, which kind of suggests that the players are buying into this philosophy and this pattern of play and the Hayden Bird project as much as we, the supporters, and we, the club officials, are. So it's great to see, to be honest with you. And it's just a little example, but it proves that there is a respect on each side. And I think that's another important aspect to this. The players respect themselves, each other. They respect the management team, they respect the supporters and the board. And when you're getting all of that sort of stuff starting to come together, Hayden says it's easy. It's not easy. It's a bit harder than that. I think he's doing himself a disservice. But the reality is, when you get all of these different aspects working together, then football is a pleasant experience and a pleasant thing to be around.
Great. We've got time for one, maybe two questions, and we've just had another one in on a bit more of a non-footballing issue, and we'll go back to Ollie Underwood.
Sorry. What efforts are trying to get more fans through the door, through the gate? Because we've seemingly the last few games of the season, we've done at home games. Just hasn't been as many. Okay, I think we've played loads and loads of games that people have run out. That people are just getting bored. But it'd be nice to see a consistent, 400 plus come through the gate week in, week out for home games and even with cup games. And next season might be hard to say, will we still charge £10? But if we're sadly still in the Isthmian League season after next, will we still be one of the good clubs charging £10, or will we be joining the evil lot on going to 12 or 11?
Quite a specific question about 2 years in the future there, but Mark, can you speak into that?
Yeah, I'm looking at Ollie's ceiling there.
Sorry.
That's all right, mate. There's a couple of cobwebs up there. We've got no intention of putting the price up at this time. It was £10 when I got involved in the club in 2006. We're now 2020 and still £10. Or it might have gone from 9 to 10. I don't know. But what was the other part of the question? The gate. It's disappointing. Yeah, there's no two ways about it. We sold out against Fylde. We had a great crowd in against Woking. And you kind of want to see them come back on a more regular basis. And you can't say that the product we were offering was bad either. It was very good product. Why are we only getting 300 as we headed towards the end of the season? There were a lot of games we were playing Saturday, Wednesday. A little bit to do with it, but it's something, again, I think our gates will go up if we had our own facility, our own ground, and I can't say that enough. With good transport links, I keep being told that, and yeah, I understand that. But it's one of the things about non-league. I mean, you get a big cup game, there's 1,500 in the ground, 1,500, 1,750, whatever it is, and then 2 weeks later you're playing a league match and there's 300 there, but that is the nature of what we're doing. But we're on the basis of trying to do a bit of a Dorking and start to build the club and build the the infrastructure at the same time. So stick with us, I think, is the message.
Mark, don't worry.
Mark, the moment you mentioned Wednesdays there, a couple of people in the chat immediately went, "Can we play Mondays? Can we play Mondays?" I don't know if you or Hayden want to say anything about that at all, about how happy we are on Wednesdays, whether there's any move to moving either back to a Monday or any other options.
Hayden, did you want to comment about that first?
I think it's a difficult question, and let me explain why. If you play Mondays, there can be the issue of recovery. However, it helps you prepare for the following game. If you play Wednesday, then we either train Tuesday to prep for Wednesday, or we are playing Wednesday and having warm downs Thursday for Saturday. However, ultimately, I think in a direct answer to the question, I rather suspect that if we said to Corinthian casuals we want to play Monday, they would say no, on the basis that they may be at home on a Tuesday, which is one of the evils of ground sharing. So I suspect, and Mark would know more than me, that if we said to Corinthian casuals, yeah, we want to change to Monday, they would object. And if there is ever the occasion when there's 2 games in midweek, as there has been on 1 or 2 occasions, Corinthian casuals would always insist that they are the first game to play. Mark, is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah.
That's helpful. We're coming to an end now, so I guess I just want to give a chance at the end for players, for Hayden, and for Mark, if there's anything that any of you guys would like to say as we finish. No, let's start with the players.
Yeah, go on. I'll go. Reece speaking. I just wanted to say a massive thank you again to the fans. Your support doesn't go unnoticed, and it really helps us get through games and sticky situations. Some of the away games, I'm not going to lie, I turned up to some of the away games and I was seeing fans there setting up flags and stuff, and I was surprised. I remember we played a cup game quite far away, a midweek one, and it was raining, pouring, and we still had about 30 fans there, and this helps us get the wins, and as I said, it doesn't go unnoticed, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I would just like to say, obviously Reece has touched on the fans and obviously how good they've been. I would obviously like to say a big thank you to obviously the board and the gaffer. I think in the last month or so, with what's happened with the virus, it's nice to know that the club are looking after the players and standing by them and financially helping them. There's a lot of clubs at bigger level than what we're playing, not looking after their players and just looking after themselves. So, as I said to John in the email before, I was very thankful that they're able to stand by all the players when they really didn't have to. But it shows the character of the board and the manager to make sure the boys are looked after and they're at the front of all their thoughts. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with both boys, and it's been great to see a lot of the fans' faces again this time over. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you next season.
I'll end it by saying thanks to everyone in this chat and everyone who's at home who's not with us today. But it's been a pleasurable season, and I look forward to spending many more, guys. And yeah, on the crowd issue with the low numbers, you're lucky, guys. You're the ones that get to see us every week. So yeah, keep coming, and next season will be better.
I like the way you said you'll end it. Are we not letting Ollie say anything?
Oh, about Ollie. Oh, you don't replay. He's got chocolate legs. Don't worry about him.
Just from me, I think I like to thank the fans and the board for, as players, I don't think as a dressing room we felt any pressure from outside. The only pressure we felt is the pressure we put on each other and ourselves. And I think that given our slow start to the season and what happened last season, it's been very easy for fans and board alike during our slow start to question or even turn a little bit toxic. So I'd like to say a massive thank you for bearing with us and for sticking with it. And I hope that we produced, you know, something along the lines of what you've all hoped for over the last few years. And you know, hopefully next season can be even more, and we'll make some more memories.
Great. Hayden, what do you say?
I can only echo what everybody else says. I'd like to thank everybody for their tremendous support all season, the support they've given me personally. I've described before as inspiring and humbling, and it truly is. The support that you guys give the players on a match day is pretty much unrivaled at this level. Both home and away, you know, I remember when we played away to Blackfield and Langley, Wednesday night in Southampton, the weather was absolutely awful. And the Kingstonian supporters were amazing that night, as they have been all season. You know, I know many of you not only support the team, but you've offered your assistance to us in sponsoring games and goodness knows what. I can see that Ben's here as a sponsor. I think we need to thank you guys for all of your considerable help with that. And, you know, just is what typifies the Kingstonian support is, for example, Rex is here tonight, and, you know, he sounded it, he comes from Wales, or he lives in Wales. There's so many people that I know that don't live in Kingston that come and support the team from afar. I think Ian is another one. That really doesn't go unnoticed. That really is appreciated. And assured that during this period, it may be quiet, but there's a lot of very, very positive things are going on, so we can realise our ambitions and your ambitions for next season. I hope you now know me well enough to know that I don't say things like this cheaply. I don't say things like this to win brownie points. I like to try to deliver what I say. And I think that this club has an extremely bright future. And I want that future to start next season with all the hard work from this year, with really being successful next season.
Great. Mark?
I'd just like to thank both the loyalty, the longevity, and the enthusiasm of our supporters who have stuck with us through some rough times, and hopefully now we're on the upward curve, and we are starting to repay their faith and their long suffering with us. I'd like to thank Hayden and his management team, the volunteers at Kingstonian who've done so much to get the games on and do so much behind the scenes. The players have been amazing. I've already mentioned this season. And I'd also like to thank my co-directors who, you know, it's difficult sometimes, and a lot of boards of different businesses, football clubs, you know, but the four of us get on incredibly well, and there is very, very rarely a crossword between any of us. So thank you to my co-directors as well. And finally, a big thank you to the sponsors who have added to the finances this season with advertising and in so many other ways. It's been great having them on board as well, and I hope they all come back again for another taster next season. And to all of you, please, during this untimely break from football and during this pandemic, please all stay safe, look after yourselves, and as someone once said, we'll be back.
Great. Well, yeah, massive thank you to the players, for Hayden, and for Mark for joining us tonight and for speaking on a range of topics. We really appreciate your honesty and sharing some of that with us. Really good. Massive thanks to John McCormack for organising all of this. He's done about 3 trial calls to make sure it all works, so really grateful for that. And grateful for everyone for coming as well and behaving so well so that John didn't have to put on his steward's vest and kick everyone out. Though we almost had to for Taymor's question, obviously.
Can I just say very quickly, Jay?
Yeah.
Sorry, because the one thing that we haven't obviously had the opportunity to do is to speak to a few of the unsung heroes, which I always like to do at the end of the season presentation, which will ironically be at the start of the season this time around. When you have these presentations, everybody thinks it's about the players. Actually, it's not. This is an opportunity for us to show our appreciation to you. That's why I'm here. That's why Mark's here. That's why key players are here. We've got the easy job. I'll say it again. The players have got the easy job. We've got the enjoyable part about playing football and doing what we love. The club's success is down to the unsung heroes, the supporters club, the people that work behind the scenes, the people like in the supporters club, John McCormack, John Bangs, Robert, Rosie. Forgive me, I know I'm not mentioning everybody, but I want you to know that we've got the best bit, you've got the hard bit, and it's not unnoticed, and it is greatly appreciated by myself, the players and the whole club. So thank you very much. I hope this season that we've managed to reward your efforts in some small way that's been missing in the past. But rest assured, this is only the start for this football club, and there's big things ahead. And I think we should all look forward with great anticipation and a lot of excitement.
Right. Thanks, Hayden. That was, really good. As we said, thanks everyone for coming. Rosie's put in the chat that the Supporters Club shop is open. So if you need any K's merchandise to get you through the summer, you can do that online for all the normal channels. We've recorded this, so if you've missed any, we'll stick it up on YouTube over the weekend. You'll be able to watch it all back. And we've got a few more things planned over the summer with various chats with stuff that we'll let you know about as well. But thanks everyone for coming. Thanks, John, for organising. Players, Hayden, Mark, thanks everyone. We will see you all soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.